Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Collective Consciousness Show, episode number 42. I have my guest with me today, Mr. Randy Smith.
What's up?
How's it going?
Good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. It's great to be back in my home studio here. We've been on the road last episode, but it's great to be back here. It's great to have you on. We're going to touch on some different stuff that I probably haven't covered in the past.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm excited.
That's what's up. So So like I said, my name is Randy. I'm human. I don't know what really else to say. It's like I'm a senior right now at Morgan State University. Go Bears. I'm majoring multi-platform production. I'm also going to my senior year. I just got a whole bunch of stuff just ready to prosper, ready to prepare, and get ready to go across that stage. So yeah.
Yeah, so ultimately, I know you want to affect change, you want to help people, you want to give people a different perspective on things.
Right.
How do you want to do that with the production side of things? And, you're very big on stage and performing and stuff like that. So how do you want to use that to help people?
Man, I just wanted to show them the how-to part. A lot of times people always tell us what to do, but no one ever told us what not to do. And through my sense of production, I want to actually not just demonstrate, but take you step by step to benefit your life, to redirect your circle, show you repentance, show you how to repent in your own way. Now, mind you, I'm just going off of what I do. So a lot of stuff will be off of like my actual like background knowledge. However, one thing I will do in upcoming productions and stuff like that is to just use it as a realm of just all of us as a collective. Previously, I decided to actually go into my thinking about getting my master's degree, and I want to get into social work. The reason why I chose social work is because social work is something that can really benefit us, help us, but also like show us it won't give us the same solutions. Most of our coping mechanism as people is like we just do it. We just go through the motions. We take a whole bunch of punches and we just keep fighting when we don't have to do that all the time. Sometimes
Right.
we can literally just step back, see a problem, avoid those problems, and continue with our life. Like not everything we gotta take so personally, but we can also know how to affect ourselves too mentally. Sometimes we just gotta let it just not just digest or not let it just simmer down, but
Right.
acknowledge what it is and just take a different approach.
Right.
And that's something I want to do with social work and actually like build that within production.
Right. I think a lot of people have they get the wrong idea about what social work is. They see a lot of what social work is and how it's been used now. And I think in a lot of ways it's been used the wrong ways. They're not teaching, like when they go into, and I don't know what specific social work you get into, but like these people that they go into these broken homes and they don't know how to help the kids because they don't know the kids. Like you have to build a relationship because these kids, they don't trust anybody. You're going into these homes and you see the children are getting beat and the parents are yelling and arguing and there's domestic violence and all this stuff, and they don't trust anybody. Like if you want to help kids that have a tough background, you have to talk to them. You have to have an actual conversation. You have to, kind of be their equal. Try and not control them.
And you said it yourself. You gotta be their equal in life. You gotta meet people where they at.
Right.
The hardest thing I had to understand was that my life now always been peaches and cream. I'm just being honest. I mean, even at Concordia through high school and stuff like that, when you go to school in Towson, also know that same day you gotta go back over West Baltimore. It's two sides to this country. And one thing I realized with a lot of us is that we can't understand where someone else is coming from because we never met that person where they're coming from. All of us has a story. You just came in at the wrong chapter.
Right.
It's that simple. All of us have a story. We just came in their life at the wrong chapter. However, we don't know our own table of contents yet because you have to experience that for yourself. But what I can go off of was your chapter one, your beginning, understand how you was brought up, understanding where you're coming from as a person intellectually, I can understand your chapter 3 of how you start growing to yourself as a person, as a man. And then now I can also go off where you're at currently to see how that intertwines with who you are today. I'm not saying I gotta be your best friend. I'm not saying I gotta be your best buddy. However, I should be a person that is open to what you're talking about, what you're saying, how that follows within the conversation. So that's how you do about it. You gotta, like you said, be equal with that person.
Right. Right. You have to take a different approach, because the way I talk to my friend is the way, I talk to people differently if I don't know you. If you're my family, it's different. You have to take the approach of I don't know this person, but they're a person just like me. They go through things just like me, even though they understand things a different way. It's a different culture, it's a different, way of life. You have to understand that they're a person and they have feelings and they have emotions. And a lot of times we get into the mindset of, we think that we're not equal to somebody, but we are.
Right.
In a lot of ways, we bleed the same blood, we feel the same way that a lot of people do.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's one of my goals. Sure.
What are your other goals? I feel like you have a lot of,
Yo, I
you're a
do.
very goal oriented person. You have
Yeah.
a lot of things you want to accomplish. So
How I
what
do.
are they?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me scoot in because I'm like, why am I
Yeah,
so
go,
far?
go ahead.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
go
Thank
ahead.
you.
I know the table's kind of
We'll
big.
edit that later. But
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
yo, one of my main goals right now, walk across that stage, graduating. On my father's side specifically, I'd be out of my grandmother's children, I'll be the first person to graduate from college. So
Congrats.
thank
That's
you.
awesome.
That's something that I will do. That's not even just a goal. That is a mission.
Right.
If you ask me, another goal is just to keep networking. Past yesterday, actually, I was invited to the second annual Wealth Summit in the Baltimore Peninsula, hosted by Raven Paris and on Instagram, the Mr. Resilient Tony. I went to the first Wealth Summit when it was in Murphy Fine Arts Center as of last year, around the same time, like mid-July ish,
Right.
and I loved it. I love the connections I was making. I love the people I was coming across. I love the fact that there was somebody out there that wanted to see me go further than I'm in right now. One thing I took away from the Wealth Summit is nothing will be perfect. It's just not going to happen. Sometimes progression, long as you're still progressing, that's a sign for you to keep going. Can't lose sight. You can't lose sight of your progression. It can be slow. It can be very fast. But as long as you're moving, and nothing else, never be afraid to start over. And sometimes starting over does not mean you're losing income. Starting over can just simply just taking the steps to get where you want to be. There's nothing wrong to backtrack yourself just so you go 10 steps forward. Because a lot of times we have this momentum, we feel like we got to keep it. We got to keep it. We can't lose it.
Right.
One thing about momentum is build. You have to build it. It's like when we running or like you in game 4. Your energy from quarter 1 is not going to be the same when it's the final quarter,
Right.
unless you're on the bench. And if I ain't on the field, then where am I? That's how I take it as like, I'm going to rest because I'm human. However, it's like that consistency, that flow of you just keep going. You can't lose sight of that. And that is something that I actually just proud to say that I just kept going. And that's what I learned from the Wealth Summit, just to keep going. Even when it feels like you're about to give up, don't. Because you got this far for a reason. We came across so many entrepreneurs from so many different places. We met the owners of Sharif's, owners of Poppy Cuisine. I've met the owners of, I just got a mentor when I was at the Wealth Summit. He wanted to mentor me. Usually, we find people to mentor us. But for someone to mentor myself, I knew I was in the right place at the right time. I was also the youngest in the room. That ain't nothing new. It happens. When you're in these events, and even for the next Invest Fest that you want to do and bring the podcast over there, just do it. You're going to have some haters. I didn't even know old people can even hate on someone like myself because I want to win. That's my whole mission. I want all of us to win. But it's like when you let your light shine, there's always going to be somebody there to try to dim it. Even at the Wealth Summit, I didn't even think about it because I knew I was doing something right. I was in rooms with people that you got to pay even a stack just to get in. That's it. And it wasn't just myself. It was my right hand, my friend Canera. Canera, she sent an email to the Wealth Summit, told she attached our university, Morgan State University, to it, because most people that went to the Wealth Summit that's a part of the Wealth Summit, we all graduate from the same school. We all went to Morgan. The only difference is we're now getting our degrees. They already earned their degrees. And some didn't even earn it. However, they got the experience of going to college and they made something out of it. So that just tells me it's like, it's never over. It's just the beginning. When I first did the first Wealth Summit back in 2023, Colton, I lied to you not, it was me, two other my friends from NBCU Academy, a program that Morgan has as part of the School of Global Journalism Communications. Shout out to SGJC. I appreciate y'all. And I had a microphone that really, first of all, the microphone I had at the Wealth Summit, it didn't even work. It didn't even work. I literally used a microphone as a prop. Seriously. And I have no shame. None. Because if I didn't have that persona, what it looks like, it could have been something completely different than it wasn't supposed to be. So it's just like, that just tells me just keep going. Because then one day I will have that working microphone. I will have that working operator or the working batteries or just something that functions. But one thing you can't lose is passion. Gotta use this passion. Gotta use it to drive not just yourself, but people around you. Because once you're involved, then everybody else gonna be involved with you. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You said a lot there.
yeah.
You're
My
very
fault. I didn't mean to
no. That's
ramble, dog. I
good.
swear.
That's
But
good.
like,
You're a very driven guy. You have a lot of good things to say, and that's a lot of stuff that I tend to agree with. That I tend to kind of live by is that you have to keep moving because when you're not moving, there's always someone else that is.
right,
There's always someone else that has no problem taking your place. There's always someone else that has no problem, you know, getting ahead or moving forward, at your expense. It doesn't matter. If any industry is cutthroat, there's always someone looking to get in, to make their move, to make a name for themselves, and you have to be willing to do the same thing. So you have to keep moving.
right,
The real prize in all of it is the journey. You want to get somewhere, you have to go through everything you go through to get there. And then when you get there, you're like, great, I have it. But the real wealth is everything that you learned along the way that'll help you the next time you're going somewhere. The journey is the treasure. It's not the actual thing. It's what you do to get to that thing.
exactly. For all those that are watching, and you're right now, you're in your journey. My advice to you, and for those that's about to start their own journey in their career paths, or even in something they feel very passionate about, two things: be authentic, be authentic, be authentic. Because if you're not authentic, you don't have that sense of individualism in yourself, it's never going to work. Because now you're just repeating something that someone else has already have done, or something that and you ain't even cut for. So like, be authentic, and the most important thing, be consistent. Be consistent. Consistency is going to test how bad do you really want to win. I say that because as many times I thought about giving up, I couldn't give up because I knew who I was going up against. People, as we all know, we love instant gratification. If I can get, if I can succeed something within a day, and it looks like I took years to do it, I'm going to take this one thing within a day, anytime, anywhere, any place. But when you took that same time to make things happen, right? That same time to make things happen, that same time to just even change or even pave your own mindset to do something differently, Without that sense of consistency, then what's really gonna get you where you need to be? Where's your drive? What is your why? Like, why are we here? Like, why are we even sitting here right now? Because a sense of just we want to do something and make a change, knowing that other people may not agree, and it's not them. It's not for them to agree. So, authenticity, be authentic, and stay consistent. Sometimes you do gonna need a break. We're human. You're going to take a break. However, do not make that break a lifetime like pause. You just gotta rest for a little bit. Like my daddy always told me, you only mad for a moment. Be grounded within that one moment. Go right back into it. Learn while you're doing it. And anything that you do, learn while you're doing your task. And I promise you'll be golden. So authenticity and consistency.
I
Thanks
agree.
though.
I think that a lot of people think that in order to get something, in order to, gain favor with somebody or to succeed in a way, you have to act a certain way and you have to kind of kiss people's asses and the whole thing. And to a certain extent, that might be true, but you'll never get anywhere, really. You have to be yourself. People appreciate that more than anything. When I'm doing my podcast, people can see if I'm being fake. People can see if what I'm saying, if I actually believe it or not. Like if that's true, if that's who I am, if I say this stuff, is he lying? Is he not lying? People get that. People read that very easily.
Right.
I have to be me. I have to say what I believe. I have to say how I feel because people resonate with that. But if you're acting fake and you're acting a way where you're lying to people and you're acting like someone you're not, eventually it catches up with you because people see that.
Yeah.
Like if you're at your job, your boss sees that. People who are looking at you, they see that and they don't like that.
Okay. You're right. What's your next question? I'm sorry.
You're good. We talked a lot about in the car ride here. We talked a lot about some corruption that's going on in schools specifically. But
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. What do you think the biggest overarching problem facing everyone is?
So
There's a
basically,
lot of them.
we're going to address the elephant in the room.
Let's do it.
Everybody think the country is doomed from Biden dropping out the race. Me personally, I knew Kamala was going to step in because the Democratic Party elected Kamala to go on behalf of Joe Biden. When the
Right.
president can't do it, the vice president does it. That's usually what happens in the sense of this country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like politics, I'm being honest. I'm not really into it. I'm into it because they make a decision for our overall.
Right.
However, I realize that, and this is coming from friends who are poli sci majors and stuff like that, you got to do your research. You have to do your research because if you don't, you're going to believe what anyone or anything tells you what this is. Now, I'm not going to get into my political views. Just know I like Kamala and Kamala likes me. We have a good relationship. Not personally,
Right.
but
Right.
I've seen what she does for HBCUs. I've seen what she done for this country. And I also seen how she maneuvers and become a leader. Right now, she's also endorsing an amazing woman for Senate, the Miss Angela also Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that alone, I agree with it.
Right.
I like the fact how Madam Vice President, Miss Kamala Harris she's very selfless, and I like that. And I really want her to continue what she's doing. Now, when it comes to Donald, I'm sorry,
The Dawn. Yeah.
45th president, the Mr. Donald John Trump.
Right.
I just graduated. I was about to graduate from high school when the whole Breonna Taylor. I was just about to graduate from high school, literally when we had COVID, Black Lives Matters in 2020, I physically seen uproar, the uproar of January 6th, 2021, when we had the raid on Capitol Hill.
Right.
He knew all of that stuff was going on. He knew exactly what's going on. He also knew the problems with that entire situation. So to me, it's like you can't plan on leading a nation when you only focus on one group of people. And that's what's like my disconnect when it came to him.
Right.
I also looked into Project 2025. I disagree with everything. I'm being honest. I don't like how you trying to. I'm not gonna say everybody. I'm not gonna say everybody's the same. I'm not gonna say that. However, people are still people. People have backgrounds. People have country. This supposed to be land the free, and the things you're stating out, that ain't P. That ain't even cool.
So, what is Project 2025? I don't know. Do you know?
Let's look at it, shall we? Like, I mean, it's a free country,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
and
I
then
don't. I
mind you,
don't
this
know.
is coming from his website. This is coming from his actual source. This is nothing new.
So Donald Trump has this
Yes,
on his website.
and it's called www.project25.org. We
Okay.
ain't picking and choosing. I'm on the website right now, and right now it's really showing us the 100 groups to make the advisory.
So where are you going?
So right now I am at the actual website,
Okay.
Project 25,
Yep.
2025.org. It looks just like this.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
there. Yep.
I'm about to click more about Project 25,
Okay.
and I will show you the stuff that I really just don't
And I'll put
agree
this on the
with.
screen so everyone can see this.
Right. Um, and I'm about to click on Broad Correlation, the advisory board, and the sponsors that they have. Turnoffs. Like,
All these.
yes.
Okay.
A specific turnoff that I have that is sponsoring Project 25 is the American Legislative Exchange Council. Now, for those who don't know what ALEC is, ALEC was designed a system, is a design system to go against people that look just like me. That's ALEC. It is. ALEC protected George Zimmerman for the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012. It's no point even going back into what it is. They're a sponsor on behalf of Project 2025. That alone, turn off to me. And we all ain't gonna sit up here and act like, I mean, it's public knowledge that he has like over 34 counts of felonies against him. I understand all of us has problems and stuff, but like, if you had 34 counts of felonies against you, would you even be considered running? Who knows? Because apparently Donald J. Trump, he got 34 counts of felonies against him, and he's still applicable to run for the race for the president of the United States of America. Let that be Barack. He wouldn't have been a candidate to run for the United States of America at all. That just shows you the type of society that we live in, the type of country that we're in, the type of atmosphere that we're a part of. Do I really, hand in hand, love this country? I mean, I love it because it's a lot more freedom than other places to live on the continent. Yes. But I can't sit up here in front and make it seem like this country always had my best interests of heart when it never really did. People only did stuff to apply it for other people to see where they need to be, or they just made these arrangements, made these laws because, okay, they suffered enough, or even worse, now they're more applicable to make us more money. This country is a business. It always been a business, a multi-trillion-dollar business.
Yeah.
This is America.
Right.
That's what it is, from First Amendment to even the 13th Amendment. It's a country that was built to make money, make more money. Rich stay rich, poor. I just want to be poor.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like,
And they're eliminating the middle class. They're trying to.
exactly.
Right.
It's either
Yeah.
there's no longer going to be a middle class in a couple more decades, really a couple more years, if you ask me, because they literally trying to isolate that
Right.
permanently. Then I'm just asking myself, like, as far as policies and politics, stuff like that, are we really doomed? It's so hard to keep faith for something when you really don't know the end, when you don't know the ending of it, when you don't even know what's going to happen next. It's nothing wrong with being unpredictable, because I don't want
Right.
to be too predictable.
Right.
However, there gotta be that boundary of, like, that guarantees safety for ourselves and for this country. Like I said, I don't agree with him. I can't say I don't know him. I never really had a conversation with him. I don't want to have a conversation with him. But it's like, from your sponsorships, from even on Instagram. This is my last one. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
Even on Instagram, I go to Instagram right now.
On Donald Trump's
Yeah, and
Instagram.
just go. He's a, Lord knows, he's literally. I think he also has an Instagram page on it. We just put in Project 25 US. Project 25 US, and it's like, excuse my brief intermission, I apologize, but
It's all right. Whatever we need to cut out.
I'm
We
just
can.
trying to just find this thing, because I seen it. We was already on the internet page, and it's crazy. It's just,
I don't see a specific
yeah, neither
one that's
do I.
like followed by anybody.
However, on behalf of this website called AXIOS, AXIOS is a website, and it says right here,
What are you looking at?
it's right here, how Project 25 will change American life.
Okay.
And this is by author Jacob Newston. By Jacob Newston. So, shrinking the social safety net. Critical federal programs mean support people experiencing economic hardship and child living in poverty will be significantly overhauled or eliminated under the plan. Reforms will make it more difficult for people to qualify for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, commonly referred to as food stamps. Turn off.
Right.
The foundation also wants to roll back change made by the Biden administration to creep SNAP benefits over 10 years to keep up with rising food costs. The foundation was trumped to tighten the criteria for what states may give people exemption waivers for SNAP's work requirements, which are issued to ensure access to food stamps during time of high unemployment. The recommendation echoes a reform to the Trump administration had pursued during his first term before being sued by a coalition of states and the District of Columbia. All the time, the United States Department of Agriculture estimated that the changes would strip about 688,000 people of their SNAP benefits. So, eliminating food stamps. I got family that live off of EBT. Literally. They need food stamps. They don't got food stamps, they ain't have no food. Not everybody comes from no silver spoons. It's not reality.
Right.
It's how our country was made. The rich stay rich, the poor stay poor. That's the content. That's the country. So it's like when you have troubles, we have issues like that. You're eliminating 1 billion people on this planet that goes through those type of problems. So it ain't right. That's a problem that been going on for this country, but also in this society forever. I just I can't bang with that. I don't want to bang with that, but not even that. It's like I don't want to go back under his ruling. I can't go back under his teaching because it's like I really remember the riots. It was only 2020. It was only 4 years ago. The protests and everything. Even when we was going through that, it was horrible. Looting. My sister actually, my god sister, Jalea Morton. Shout out to J Lo. She lived in Louisville, Kentucky, protest on behalf of the murder of Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor passed away literally like an 8 block range of where jail lay her head at night. They looted all through the city of Louisville. Downtown, people had tear gas in their eyes. People had saw cars blowing up. And this was under Trump administration. Trump knew what was going on. Trump even said out of his mouth, kill all of them at one point. Not towards the state of Kentucky over the death of Breonna Taylor, but over the country's uproar of not settling for anything less than what is right. I don't want to go back to that space. He also knew about COVID-19, and he just let that just happen. You know, Trump even tell you he had the vaccine before anybody else did. You know, find a way he just got COVID. The next day, he took his mask off and started singing and dancing.
I mean, all the politicians were doing
All
that.
the politicians were
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't trust any of that COVID stuff. None of it that comes from anybody. I just don't. Too many lies, too much money in it, too much, you know, the corporations make money off all that. I just don't. So, so, and then there was the Freddie Gray in Baltimore too, right? In our own
I
state.
don't never. Now that was literally. I was in the 6th grade. I'll never forget it. I went to Catholic school. My mom worked in York, PA at this time. It's high school. My mother made me go to Catholic school that wasn't far away from her job. There was a bus that literally picked me up from her job and took me to the school. When Freddie Gray was going around, it was about to be 10 years since Freddie Gray. 10 years. When his murder came, police got up, like, they basically, Freddie died in the back of the van, actually. Family
Right.
came to the hospital. They ain't strapping nothing, they ain't do nothing. When those riots happened, I remember my mother was driving to go into Baltimore City. And the way she was driving, I go downtown in order to get to the other side of East Baltimore so we can go home. She took the detour to actually go to text the other ramp to Towson. So she took the counter to the city. I said, "Ma, why ain't just go? Why could we just stay in the city so we have a straight shot to the house?" I turned on the television. Everything was looting. Cars was blowing up. The entire city of Sandtown was in flames. Literally. Like, out of anger. I saw the National Guard the next day. I said, what? Because the police can only do but so much, but the National Guard was in front of Mondawmin Mall for weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks. Mind you, Doug is Frederick Douglass High School is right across the street from Mondawmin Mall, and the students from Coppin State University as well. That's not anything can happen. You know, Baltimore police officers, they got handguns, they got guns you put in their chest. These guys got full out Glocks, like literally a full loaded army set gun. Anything can help you. This is for my protection. Protection of who? Protection of what? Protection of when? Protection of where? We ain't just lose anybody. We're losing people that we Anything could have happened. Not saying that, they was out here shooting people. No, I'm not saying that. However, that was a scary time. And things got real too fast. Like, we all, mind you, in downtown, they just throwing rocks. They trying to let you know, like, we ain't going for that no more. It was a whole riot. And I was just like, like, I never seen this before. I've seen a riot. Just, I seen it. But, like, an
Not like that.
entire
Yeah.
block on fire, almost. They blew up the CVS. Not to mention, they raided Target. I will never forget it. They raided Target. Target was only up there for like maybe 2 years. Maybe. And that's a very strong maybe. So to see what that was going on from the murder of Freddie Gray, see the transition of how we was society to that in 2020 when we lost Breonna Taylor and we also lost George Floyd. That's scary. That's not normal. That's not It's not something we be like, okay, cool. It happens once, it don't happen again. No, that ain't something we just gotta just be okay about. So seeing that as I think I was like 12, and now about to turn 22 this year, and just seeing how that whole thing transitions to this one big circle, to this one big cycle, those policies and these steps gotta go. Now, mind you, it's been a different time since that happened. That happened in 2015. Barack Obama was president during that time in 2015. And now during 2020, all the stuff that happened with not just one, but with two victims that lost their life under Trump's reign, that cycle still resurfaced. The problem was never solved when it comes to public protocol or even better police training. 3 people lost their lives innocently to the sense of police brutality. And Donald Trump is nowhere near anti-police. If any, he's for the police, for them to protect and serve what she says, but it's like, who are they really protecting and serving? Growing up, to be honest with you, Colton, I could never be a police officer. I never even liked the police growing up. I was anti-police because I didn't want to. I was anti-police because I felt like I have to. Every time I seen them, I ran. They didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was going. I just didn't want that to happen to me. People call 911. First time I called 911 because of some scam. It was something really tragic that happened. They didn't come until like 30 minutes, 20 minutes later. It happened at like I'll say 2:15. They didn't pull up until like 2:50. A lot can happen within 30 minutes. Literally. Literally. So that's almost an hour, like half an hour at that. Like, be so for real. And that's an issue that we're still dealing with today. Not just as a society, but as people. We don't know what's going to happen once they come. We just know one rule: just do whatever they say. Do whatever they say. Don't argue with them. Don't talk back to them. Do what they say. But even doing what they say is going to take even a bigger risk because we don't know what's going to happen next. And when it does happen, how are we supposed to react? How are we supposed to like attain the same protocol? Because you got to think about it. It's not just the police that's doing these things. It's people that also know. There's also people that's connected within law enforcement. There always been a divide within public safety and public health and law enforcement in my community. There always been that divide. Always. Not just in the city of Baltimore, not just in this country, all over the world. They had one of the great heroes the United States of America as a felon. Martin Luther King Jr., they had him as a felon. They had him as FBI most wanted at one point. As far as just he been arrested on 38 accounts. Martin Luther King Jr.'s record is long. Like long. Specifically for fighting what was right. They put him in jail in Birmingham, Alabama, gave him the worst conditions to live in. They said on his deathbed he had a stress level as much as a person that was 60 years old. Mind you, MLK passed away when he was 39. He couldn't create this stress on himself just because. You sacrificing your livelihood for the benefit of a group of people. And we have countless other people we don't even know about. Not just through Malcolm X for to have the self-identity for African Americans or just really black people in general, but we can't forget about our living legends to this day. Angela Davis sacrificed her life not only to go to jail to like for people, but even went back to universities and teach people about what the Panther was going through. They plotted on everybody. On everybody. Like even the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. That's a real life story. All they want to do is uplift their people and tell them you will be a revolutionary. You will be the change that you want to see in society that was never meant for you to begin with. And they shot him in his head at that. They made sure he was dead. Literally. They made sure Frank was going to die that day. Mind you, he in the car with his wife. He was in bed with his wife. Their son, who's still in his mother's room. And they killed Frank on the spot. And that just tells me, like, man, this the FBI. Like, this the Federal Bureau, it's just like, this the FBI. This ain't Popo.
Right.
These are the people that really made sure that you will never see another day. They get away with murder instantly.
Yeah. Did FBI, CIA, did they do what they
Exactly.
want?
They
Yeah.
done it. They doing it now. So it's like, this is the country that we live in, and this is the type of person that endorses these groups of people. So do I feel safe? No. Do I like him? Clearly, no.
Right. Well, Trump said he wanted to get rid of the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
Yeah.
he said those things, but he also knows that if he get rid of the FBI, now he has to endorse the police, public safety, more enforcement on on certain minority groups because the FBI won't get involved. Now they have more leeway to get involved, more leeway than they ever had before. Because now it's not gonna be one for calling them or even say they have a warrant. He might even endorse the fact if they feel trouble, see trouble, seek trouble. So then that's going to create even more loopholes of love, not just violence, but more death, more uncalled death, more interpretations, and worst of all, assumptions of what we think is going on. Mind you, Breonna Taylor died in her sleep. She wasn't awake because they thought this was a crime or this wasn't bad. And mind you, she also did law enforcement for the state of Kentucky. So what will happen next? Because I'm not going to forget. We can't sweep that under the rug. We can't act like that just didn't happen. Even the time in 91 when they beat the brakes off of Rodney King. Thank God he was still alive, but Rodney King did not get beat up for. LA in 92 was the highlight of the world. Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody. That was and mind you, that next year, that's when the biography of Malcolm X came out. Shout out to Spike Lee for directing it, but still, like, that was a moment in history that still reflected what we're going now currently as people. And now, as of yesterday, July 20, exactly, as July 21st, yesterday, July 21st, 2024, Joe Biden dropped out the race and now endorses his vice president. And I can't even, and I don't be no devil's advocate, But I'm also not going to forget that Kamala Harris was also a prosecutor for the state of California.
Incarcerated a lot of people for weed. And then she gets into office and she's advocating all this. You can't trust any of them.
Can't trust nobody.
So, so,
But I'm still going to vote for Kamala.
so I have a couple questions. One, just real quick. What do you think? Who do you think wins? Biden or not Biden? Kamala or Trump? Who do you think? Just honest opinion, not who you want to win, because obviously,
Right.
clearly, you want Kamala to win.
Right.
But who do you think actually wins? It could be Kamala, it could be Trump. Maybe it's RFK. Because he has a chance too.
Yeah.
And we haven't really talked about RFK, but
All right. RFK, he independent. So it's like he stands on his own beliefs and stuff like that. He also the nephew of John F. Kennedy.
right,
So he a legacy and he sees it. He understands what's going on within the
yeah,
country. I'm not just saying this to be biased. I'm saying this as a human being. I still believe in Kamala Harris. Only two reasons. One, just off the simple fact that she has a track record of at least positive things that she done for this country. Like not just donating money to HBCUs, not just coming to other workshops on behalf of NAACP or even her own sorority as well. But she actually was in the field when it comes with people that support the LGBTQ plus community. She has been in the field to actually endorse and encourage people with nonprofit organizations to minority groups, not just African Americans, but also different minority groups as far as people of Latino descent, people of Asian descent. Like she actually made the right things and did a better job for people to feel comfortable with the United States of America. She also helped with immigration for people to actually, if they don't have, she opened ways for immigration for people to actually start their new life here in the United States of America. She did a project about that, and you can look that up as well. Like she done positive things.
so you think that you think she will come
She
November,
will-
she will win.
I feel like come November, she has a good chance of winning. But also, I don't want to underestimate her because clearly, her being now the head of the Democratic Party, she is the underdog of this race. Joe
Yeah,
Biden, excuse me, Donald Trump said out his mouth, it would be an easier chance of beating Kamala Harris than it was with Joe Biden.
right.
That alone tells me she has a good chance only because when you underestimate anybody, you lack to see their fullest potential of where they can win at. Kamala Harris is the first woman vice president of the United States of America. There's no other woman before her that was vice president of this country. Not one.
Yeah,
And now her running as president, I do believe so that she can actually make a change, not just because of what she has done, but also what she is doing. She did everything behind the scenes because Kamala's the type of person where it's like, you're going to know if I tell you. Just because I don't tell you what I'm doing, that doesn't mean I'm not doing it. And I feel so when people get underestimated, that's where they shock them the most. And not just because she's a woman of color, but also just because Kamala's also educated when it comes to policies, when it comes to operation of just making things happen. She knows the how to part to do things the right way. Now, coming from a family and just coming from a city where you come across people that were falsely prosecuted and stuff like that, that is very much a turnoff, and that's wrong. However, we have to have this sense of accountability. They also knew what they was doing before they did it. I'm not making any excuses, but in life we have choices, Colton. We have choices, which means we know what's right and we know what's wrong. No one's forced you to do anything dumb. No one forced you to be stupid. You saw it, so you did it. You did it off of what you see. When it comes to possessions and stuff like that, you're doing it off what you see. You're also doing it off what you hear. You agreed to those decisions. Not saying they're right decisions, but you agreed to make that decision. Now it comes to a point. Are we going to keep everybody accountable with this next election? Not just with Robert F. Kennedy, not just with Donald J. Trump, not even with Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. The sense of accountability is going to really determine how we're going to be as a country. It's going to determine that. Because yes, we're all going through inflation. Yes, we're going through a lot of real life problems, especially us as Gen Z. Our
Right.
generation is literally the making and breaking of this country. Simple. We're the most outspoken. We're definitely about to be the most educated. But most importantly, we're also the most like fearless. Our generation ain't fearful when it comes to them. We will come in front of you. We
Right.
we really make spaces for us to say what we have to say, and we mean what we say.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of a revolution. You can't get rid of the revolutionary. You
No.
just can't. You can't get rid of the revolution. Even take out one person, that ain't gonna stop the revolution. It's
No.
just not. So it's like, although she's being underestimated through all of this, and yes, she's not going through the things are not as promising. The fact that she's still being underestimated by a person under this umbrella, I still strongly believe she's going to win and overcome all of that. Because this ain't the first time Kamala Harris been underestimated ever.
No.
This not. The only difference is that now she's just in a different position. This ain't the first time Kamala Harris been doubted. This definitely ain't gonna be this ain't gonna be the last time she's gonna be doubted, ever. However, I know she'll make a great president because she actually know the tools to actually do what is right and keep everybody and herself accountable for what she is doing. Everything Kamala Harris said she's going to do, she actually done it. And that's why now do I agree with everything she's done? No, I don't. However, she said she's going to do and she executed that. I'd rather vote for somebody who tells me what they're going to do, shows me the plan for it, and execute it. Donald Trump done that too, but the stuff he's doing is actually, you're taking away food stamps. Like, I don't know about you. I know people that still live off of that EBT, like I said before. That's not okay. You're making a system that only caters to one group of people. I don't agree with that. Like I said, I am blessed and I'm highly favored. I thank God for my parents. I thank God for our high school. I thank God for my HBCU. But not all of us grew up with a silver spoon in our mouths. We just didn't. Now, I ain't gonna sit up here and act like, well, I went through heck and back and stuff like that. No, I'm not gonna do that. My parents did the best they could to make sure I have a very successful life. And I'm grateful for that. Because as the good book says, as God can giveth, he can also taketh away.
Right.
That's what it says. However, people are going to get to live these lifestyles, to be in these better shoes, to live and prosper within their means. But like I said before, we got to meet them where they at. And quite frankly, he's not meeting where these people's at. He's just meeting the people that's already at where he is. And when everybody else to play catch up. That's not how we can run this country because people have been playing catch up for years. I'm literally talking about generational people playing catch up just to even sit at the same like table that they were at 10 years ago. Can you imagine you playing catch up to be with somebody but you a whole decade behind? That's crucial. That's upsetting. That's
Yeah, it's impossible.
it's
Right.
impossible.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff happens like on a state level. Like the
Yes.
governor, the mayor, like
Yes.
those people, like the president can't control what the state of Maryland does. Like
Yeah.
what the mayor, like what Westmore does,
Right.
what laws he puts into effect.
Right.
Like Donald Trump or Biden or Harris or whoever, like they can't ultimately control that because states can make their own laws. So a lot of issues that you see are kind of out of the president's control, no matter who the president is, right?
Right.
So on a state level, like what changes do you think need to be made? You know?
That's a good question. So far, I'm gonna speak into existence. What's up, Wes? It's good to see you. I hope you're watching this. Everything I want Westmore to do, he's done it already. I take public transportation. He made the red line. As far as state level is concerned, I'm not worried. Only because not only did he execute everything he's going to say, he lived by the motto, leave no one behind. None of us left behind within the state of Maryland. Everybody was on one accord. And I'm grateful for that. Westmore knows. First of all, he's from Baltimore.
Right.
So he knows where my community is specifically coming from. To our necessities, to what we need. Just because the president and vice presidents can take that away, quote unquote, if they choose to, stuff like that, that doesn't mean that we have to go through that. We have our own government. Lord knows we have our own governor. I'm just going to speak into existence. I feel like Westmore might be the next president of the United States of America.
You think he has?
Absolutely.
You think over
Absolutely.
like Ron DeSantis or Gavin Newsom or these? You think Westmore could do it over them? You think he'd have enough funding?
Absolutely. Maryland's one of the most richest states in the entire country. And not only that, Westmore, the difference between all those candidates, Westmore is not only an American veteran, front lines at that, sacrificing, helping people to get where they need to be. But another thing is, Westmore has this thing called youth. Westmore can relate to us as Gen Zs, even Generation Alpha for the upcoming generations, Gen X, Millennials. And I'm not trying to be biased, but even just reading his articles and also just seeing him as a person,
Right.
he knows how to be selfless and sacrifice things for the benefit of other people. He's the governor of the state of Maryland. He's not poor.
Yeah. Clearly not.
Clearly, he has money. However, Westmore said it himself. He's seen the sacrifices his mother was making. He's seen the sacrifices that his peoples was making. Donald John Trump said his father gave him a small loan of $1 million, which is what's up. That's something his family can afford. That's something his family can produce. That is something that's what it comes from. Cole, me and you both, our daddies never told us here's a small loan of $1 million before.
No.
No.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately, that is not our reality.
Right. Yeah.
But
Would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I would love
But they did their part. This is what you can do to make money. This is what you can do to save money. Here's what you do to invest within your money. And this is how you not make the same decision twice. We got knowledge. And that's something that is worth more than money, because that is something that's going to carry us on to the day that we lay our head at rest.
Right.
Westmore had the knowledge to do what was right. He had the knowledge to change for himself to make sure that he got where he is now. When he was running for governor, he went against Tom Perez. Tom Perez was like they were both in the same party, and that was like one of his biggest, there was a neck and neck.
Rivals, yeah.
There was rivals. There was neck and neck. They was both fighting for the same thing, for the same protocols. The only difference what came to Westmore's, that majority of stuff he was fighting for, the state already had. Simple. Educational programs for after school programs. We already had that. I came through after school programs in Baltimore City and County. So clearly we had those programs. It just wasn't as highlighted or as pushed as it was how it is now. Now you can look it up. You can go to these schools and be like, you need X, Y, and Z. The state of the Maryland, or even your own school education department, you have the right for them to provide that for you, because there's laws in place that's supposed to be provided for your educational purposes. So I get it, where Governor Moore is coming from. I do, because I've seen it.
Right.
But Governor Perez, when came to Tom Perez, for one, you're not even from Maryland.
Right. You don't have an experience.
Yeah, You grew up here, you know what I'm saying? Like you seen stuff within Maryland and stuff, you know. You did stuff with Barack Obama. You done stuff on your own. You're the first Latino man to do these things and provide um this like this sense of wealth. That's what's up. You don't know us, not just Marylanders, but as people. Everybody know you think in the state of Maryland, you're gonna think of two places. Prince George's counties, like towards like Southern Maryland, stuff like that, and Baltimore. Every time when someone think about the state of Maryland, they're gonna think of Baltimore.
Yeah.
And we're not in the capital. We're just the most known city in the entire state of Maryland. And we're also one of the oldest cities in the country, if not world. We can put that up for debate. For real, for real. Baltimore been around forever. Forever. Like, there's no debating about it. Baltimore been around forever.
Since we came over from Great Britain, we
Exactly.
colonized. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like when you have that and you have that and you're trying to help and govern, because you're not just governing the city, you governing the state. That's one of, if not your biggest and most known responsibilities, is the state.
Right.
So it's like when you don't have that connection with not only this city but the surrounding cities on top of that,
Right.
people backing off.
You can't relate.
You can't relate.
No.
We're, as people, especially as Mariners, we're very translucent people. Which means if you can't relate to me, if you can't see where I'm coming from, I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna vibe with you. Cause for what? Now you're just going off what you think it is, instead of know what we know it is. We know what's up. This ain't just my community. This just ain't just my block. This is my home. This is my territory. This is where I lay my head at night. I've been in Baltimore for the last 20 years. I live in Baltimore my whole life. And I can stand, y'all probably hear my accent now coming out. I didn't know I even had an accent until I got to college. And I'm being so serious. I never know that was even a thing.
Right.
And I don't like TikTok for that to this day because I don't even talk like that.
Right.
But that's our society. That's our norm. That's our culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
that was his biggest downfall, because I actually remember being on his administration. I remember being on Tom Perez's administration, helping him because my senator, shout out Corey McCray, he was endorsing him. So it's like, if my senator going to endorse him, I'm going to go with him.
Yeah.
I have the best senator this state has ever seen. District 45 is one of the best places not to start a family. District 45 has so many opportunities for education, for public transportation, for public programming, for if you want to make something happen, you can make it happen. From Senator McFadden that used to be over District 45 to now we have to Senator Corey McCray.
Right.
I'm blessed. Because I didn't want to get involved in politics. I didn't until I had to get money for school.
Right.
So I've realized how much I'm going to get money for school. I emailed Senator McCray.
Yeah.
Because he had a scholarship that was open up for students in his district for you to go to schools within your own state. And for that alone, I'm grateful.
Yeah. I think politics is meant to kind of divide us and bring us down and strip us away of who we actually are. You know, everybody included in that statement. I think that it's ultimately a distraction. It's ultimately it's a money game. You know.
Oh, yeah.
It has nothing to do with the actual people, and it has everything to do with the people that are in charge. You know, people don't realize that there's more of us than there are them, and we have more control than we think we do. We have more say than we think we do, but we have to have these conversations. We have to let people know that we need to come together. We're stronger together than we are apart, and it's always difficult because when you have this many people in one country,
Yeah.
and so many people believe so many different things, and a lot of people believe a lot of things that aren't true, because you have a lot of people out there that are spreading false information, that are lying to you, that don't want you to succeed, that don't want you to know the truth. When you have a lot of those going on, it's very hard to have honest conversations with people because there's not a lot of honesty. There's not a lot of transparency because everybody's saying something different,
As you
you know?
said it, it's not a lot of
So, right.
transparency.
So I
But
was wondering, we've been going for about an hour now, I believe. Do you have any questions for me? I,
yeah,
do
I
you,
do. I got a couple.
yeah, I would love to hear them. I didn't know. Yeah.
So, what's your brother's name? That's my first question.
That's Carter. And then I have an older brother, Christopher. Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
Chris.
You remember him?
I remember Chris.
Do you? He didn't go to Concordia.
He didn't, but like he would
No.
come to our games and stuff. He came, I think, came to like at least one baseball game.
Yeah, he was at a baseball game or two.
Yeah,
He
that's
was
what.
at a couple of them. Yeah.
So I remember too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Carter, come on. You have nothing else to
Yeah.
do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit next to you so I can get on the mic.
Yeah.
of
I'm gonna
course.
sit next to you.
But
Go ahead. It's my co-producer, my brother, Carter.
right,
What's going on?
Carter's cool.
Yeah.
My question, y'all, is just like, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me.
Thank you
highly
for coming on.
appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
Especially coming all the way down to the east side just to bring a little guy like me, you feel me, to this
Right.
great studio. Home game, I see this mad potential. Seriously, like it's mad potential. Like Lord don't even know. All it really takes is this
Right.
to even start. Like I even started my
Yeah.
own podcast called Randy Thoughts Incorporated, and it's like and the Randy Show. Started the Randy Show. So the Randy Show
Yeah.
gonna be hard. Coming soon. But my question, y'all, is just like, like what makes y'all like what kept y'all driving? What kept y'all going through anything that y'all doing currently?
Um, through everything I do, through the podcast, through making other content, through anything at all, the thing that keeps me going, and I guess there's a lot of things, because I use a lot of things as inspiration, but what keeps me going is just kind of that moral compass, that guide, whatever that is, that voice in my head, and I believe it's God. It's something telling me that you're meant for this. Like this is what I called you to do, and you're good at it. You have a gift. You have a gift of talking. You have a gift of inspiring people and bringing people together, and that's what I should be doing. And if I don't do that, I never want to, get to heaven and He says to me, look what you were, but look at this long list of things that you could have done if you had just pushed yourself, if you had gotten outside your comfort zone, if you had did things that you never would have thought were possible, I never want that to be the case. Not that, when I get to heaven, God's going to, judge me and, say you could have been this, you could have been that. But in my head, it's like, if I don't push myself, if I just do what I'm comfortable with, if I do what I know instead of, going outside of that zone and talking to people that I only agree with instead of talking to people that I don't know their perspective, then I'm never going to grow to the person I want to be. In my mind, I'm a disappointment at that point because I'm not doing the things I know I could do,
Right.
So that's part of what keeps me going.
How about you, Carter?
You said what's my
Like,
what's my drive?
what's your drive and like what's your why? Like,
I didn't necessarily come from a great childhood. I mean, it wasn't parents in and out of the house, divorced, and like seeing all the fighting and all that. And I grew up next to a foster family, so like I saw the kids coming in and out of there and heard their stories. Um, but I loved them. They were great people, like especially the parents. Their names were the Cabels. They were great. They hosted all these kids, diverse kids coming from different environments, from Baltimore, out of state, everywhere. So they kind of inspired me along with my own parents because my parents were like, they're fighting for me. Even though they're fighting against each other, they're fighting for me. And so I kind of see that as wow, like these people really want me to succeed. Ultimately, like even if you don't realize it, like they ultimately want me to succeed. And then when I was 8, I had my brain cancer, which I'm sure you've heard the story. A lot
yeah,
of people at Concordia have heard the story, and like just a lot of people that like know of me, like that's how they know me. They know that I had brain cancer, and I was one of 2 people in the world that year to have that type of brain cancer, and where I came from. I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, all that shit. But you see where I am now.
no,
It's like that. I just want to show people that like you can come from in a sense, I mean, I started all over again when I was 8. And like, I get it, 8,
Yeah.
I'm young. I don't know that much, but I know enough where it's like, that's a whole nother, it's like I'm a baby again and I know nothing. It's just like 8 years gone. But I don't like to look at it that way. That's just, I like to, that's where I come from. Um, and I always like to remind myself of that. And I just want to show people that no matter where you come from, you can make it if you want to call it that or whatever. And so I have little things that like remind me of that. Like I'm getting a tattoo on my arm of like the gold ribbon, which is for childhood cancer. Um, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna want to cut the back of my hair off because I have my big ass scar back here, and
Yeah.
I kind of just want to like show that off.
Rocket.
Yeah, like keep the top and cut the back,
Yeah.
something like that, just to like show it because I think it's important to show people where you come from so that you can be an inspiration to others. But those little things like the tattoo, my scar, other things, remind yourself where you came from and just stay humble and to stay true to yourself.
That's dope. And like that ain't easy. You know, I lost my grandmother to cancer. I lost all my soldiers to cancer. And for you to overcome brain cancer, 1 out of 2 people in the world have the specific type of brain cancer that you have. That's special. You know, because you could have gave up. You could have literally just been like, I had a cool 8 years, but you didn't. A lot of people can't even overcome a wound.
Mm-mm.
There's a lot of people who can't even overcome just getting their heart broken.
Right.
Cardi, you overcame brain cancer.
I fought.
Like, there's people who got tumors and they still trying to figure out their brain tumor, how they won't even reoccur. Like, that's what I'm saying. You can't tell me God ain't real. It's
No.
impossible to tell me that God ain't real.
That's like I am a miracle.
Yeah, you a miracle. Seriously. Now, I ain't gonna lie. The close thing I even got to brain cancer, around that time, I was 5. I got ran over by a bike. I literally just caught my eye and threw it back into my face. That's about it. That's why the scar like right here, but
Right.
that's about it. But like I ain't trying to do like show like comparison, but it's just like that's remarkable. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only way I could put it. That's remarkable. Same thing with you, Colin. Just like you're keeping God first. And that's one thing that is so hard for us to do in this thing called society because temptation is real. Delivering us from evil, that's real. Because it's so easy to get caught within that spirit. Even myself, my own parents was divorced. And I seen that within my own 2 eyes. But like you said, they both wanted the best for me. And they still want the best for me. It's just like that's something we just can't keep ourselves into be on behalf of our mental health, on behalf of our livelihoods. Some things you really can't even get yourself involved in because we know the repercussion that comes with it. Like when my parents told me they was getting divorced, I laughed. I was like, for what? Why? Until I seen some things for myself. I
Yeah.
seen the reactions. I seen the after effect of why they made these decisions. And of course, I was hurt. Mind you, I'm the only boy. Basically, I'm the only child. So it's like when you see, yeah, 2 heroes no longer together, that's not the easy feeling. That's not something like we'll be okay. No, you're going to be affected. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be
Broken.
broken. And it took me a long time for me to heal because most families, their parents been together for years, generations and stuff like that. And like even my grandparents, they were married for over 30, 40 years. So when you have come from grandparents who've been married to then have parents that's divorced, it's like a why, wow, and since when? But what, like you said, they both love you the same. You always gotta feel a way to just take your mind off of things, like going to the Cabell's house and overcoming that tremendous, tremendous thing that happened in your life. that just tells you, like I said before, he's still working. He's still moving. He's still here. And I'm really grateful for both of y'all stories. Another question I have
Yeah.
for the floor course is just like what's next? Like what's next? Like what's your next move? What's your next like project? Like, what you want to do next in the future?
Um, for me, it's just keep this going. Consistency, like you said. Just do everything I can to get it out there, to be consistent with the content. And the goal for me is it's not a number. It's not this many views or likes or subscribers or whatever. It's inspiring people and helping people and changing perspective and letting people know that whatever you're doing, wherever you come from, we're better together than we are
Apart.
apart. And that's my whole thing, is just bring people together. I say the collective consciousness, all of us together, whatever that is for you. We might have different opinions on something, but together, and we can do it. And I want to inspire people, through whatever that is, and in any way I can. I have a gift, and God calls me to use that gift. So that's my answer.
Perfect. Oh, you
Yeah,
good?
I mean, I just graduated high school.
Yeah.
I'm 17. I'm not even supposed to have graduated high school, but in a sense, I feel like age-wise, I'm not supposed to have graduated, but I mean, maturity, I feel like I should have, because I always grew up with older people. I
Yeah.
mean, my freshman year, that's how I met you.
Right.
You was in my health class with Miss
I
Calhera.
was. I
Like,
was.
like
I
that's
was.
how I always have grown up with older people from my childhood, just cause being around Colin, like Colin's friends, cause Colin's 2.5, 3 years older than me. So I've always grown up with older people. Um, but my next step would be I'm going to Temple. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to Temple for kinesiology, and I want to be able to help people through injuries specifically, because I've had my fair share of injuries. Not even
Mhm.
saying my brain tumor, like just like physical, like bones, and like I've had my fair share of injuries throughout sports. And for a while, like I remember having a conversation with my mom. I was like, I'm so tired of getting injured. Like I was crying about it. Like I just hated getting injured because I couldn't do what I loved, which was sports at the time. And I got like real depressed about it back when I lived in Parkville. Um, and so I just want to be able to help people do that, because I know I'm not the only one that loves sports like that.
All right.
Like I know I'm not the only one that still is like a sports addict. Um, so I just want to be able to help people through that, so that they don't have to feel the same pain, or at least not as bad as how I felt it.
Exactly. That's tough. Shout out to the Owls, man. For real. But
Anything else? We've gone almost an hour and a half here.
that's what's up.
Anything else?
This is my last question,
Yeah.
but this is a
Yeah.
really good question.
Okay.
Right?
Let's do best for last.
I'll say the best of last.
Hell yeah.
This for us and for all who was watching, of course. Um, what keeps you grounded in God and everything that you do? What keeps you in the faith?
You want to answer this one first, or you want?
I can answer first.
All right.
It's tough, because I've had my fair share of like questioning, a few summers ago. So I mean, a few years ago, I was questioning, because like I believed in God, and I was just like, I feel like everyone has that phase where it's like that they're questioning, because it's just, I mean, that's natural, that's normal. And and so one night I just like randomly started praying, and it was just like out of the blue. Like that's just not normal. I hadn't thought about like God or any sort of religion that entire day, and I just started praying. It was weird, honestly, and I didn't know what it was, but I just did it every night, and I like couldn't stop. It was weird. I prayed every night, and it was just small things. It was just Thank you for today. Thank you for allowing me to spend quality time with my family. Thank you for this food. Just small things like that. It wasn't even like not normal things. And so that said something to me. That was just like a come to life moment. It was just like out of nowhere. Um, and then bring it back to my brain cancer. That's a miracle in itself. Like I don't think I should be here if we want to say to scientifically. Um, and then I've just seen like friends like flourish after like fully committing themselves to God and getting baptized, this, that, and the other. So I mean, that to me is just enough to say like, wow, like there really is something out there, without something being God.
All right.
Um, what keeps me grounded is all the things that God has given me that He shows me every day. You know, I have a great family. You know, I love my dad. I love my brother. I love my sisters. I'm not as connected with my mom now as I would like to be, but I'm more connected than I was 2 years ago. Like things are getting better. I have the best friends in the entire world that have been with me through literally everything at this point. And I love where I'm at. I love what I'm doing. And I can't take that for granted because I realize that every time I take those things for granted, they seem to leave. You know, every time that you take something for granted, it just goes away and you're like, man, like I really need that now, you know? So every day you wake up, you appreciate the things you have, you take care of yourself because God's gifted me with knowledge of, you know, what to eat and how to take care of myself and exercise and all that stuff. And if I don't use it, then I'm going to lose it. So just being thankful and being grateful for all the great things that I have, all the amazing things I have. That's what keeps me grounded.
That's
So
what's
yeah. What about you?
I'm glad you asked. What keeps me grounded? Just just knowing him and knowing how he moved in my life. You know, me and my man Jesus, we go way back. You feel me? Like we excuse me. He was actually he is. Every time I doubted myself, he reminded myself who I was. And he also let me knew that like I was cut different. I was never made to be the same as everybody else. I attempted to fit a norm, even at Concordia. That was not my body. Like I can't do what other people do. That's not me. I just can't do that. I'm not a trendy guy. I'm the one who set trends. Simple.
Yeah.
So what really keeps me grounded is not just his word, not just his inspiration, but really kept me grounded just like you said, family, friends, and using his voice. What really keeps me grounded is me knowing his voice. You know, it says in the book that my sheep knows my voice when I'm speaking to them. Like he's our shepherd for a reason, you know, and it's like God saved me before I couldn't even, he saved me before I even know I didn't even save myself.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody's like, well, that usually like an intellect, like the more you believe in yourself, the more you're believing in him. And I'm just like, yeah, but no. And I'm not possessed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
Yeah.
You feel me? I'm not just saying this because it's just like, oh, that's what they're supposed to say.
Yeah.
He believed in me more than I could even believe in myself. Even me looking at him knew he was there with me the whole time. Like I can't even explain the spirit, but all I can say the spirit is just there.
Yeah.
You know? And like also just background too. Mom's Sunday school teacher. Grandmother grandma was just a teacher in general.
Right.
My great grandfather, my great great grandfather, he was a pastor. So it's like it been in me. It's just I had to take the risk to have a relationship for myself with him.
Right.
Most of the time, we're told you got to go to church on Sunday. You got to be on the choir. You got to be on the ushering board. You got to just listen to pay attention. Not knowing we're not having a relationship. This is forced.
Right.
He's not the type of person you can't be forced into. You have to know him. I strongly believe you got to know him for yourself and just be a part of his journey because he is loving. He is all forgiving. But we also serve a jealous God. What I mean by that, you can't serve two masters. So it's like once you know him for yourself, that really keeps you grounded because now you're taking him and putting him in your life.
Yeah.
So that's really keeps me grounded, just knowing him for myself and just knowing what he is, what he brings to the table, and how I can be a better version of the table to myself. So
Yeah.
that's what keeps me grounded.
It's
So
awesome. Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
of course,
This has been great.
thank you.
So appreciate you.
Alrighty.
My man, this has been episode number 42 of the Collective Consciousness Show with my great friend, Mr. Randy Smith. You can check out all of his stuff. We'll put it in the bio or the link or the whatever the hell it is. So thank you. Please do like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. We got some great stuff coming on the way. So thank you.
Alrighty.
All right. See ya.
Of course. Boom.
There you go. That was awesome. Thanks. Thank you, man.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.